Good evening. Thanks for tuning in to KPC News. I'm Hannah Thurman.
And I'm Karsan Turner. Tonight we will discuss a freshman representative who has turned heads on another possible another possible Democratic candidate. But first, we're going to start with a recent discovery in the collusion with Russia.
Yesterday, the Senate Intelligence Committee took the final steps in concluding the investigation between the 2016 Trump campaign and the alleged collusion with Russia. NBC reported after 2 years and over 200 interviews, the committee found no direct evidence of conspired collusion. A similar investigation came to the same conclusion last year when Democrats were excluded from the investigation.
While there isn't any direct evidence of collusion, House Democrats will expand an investigation between a link with Russian intelligence and operatives that allegedly leaked emails from the Democratic Party. The committee also plans to answer a few questions, such as why did Trump and his associates have over 100 contacts with Russians before his inauguration? Or why was Donald Trump Jr. seeking help from Russians during the campaign trail? And what exactly was Paul Manafort doing when he shared polling data with someone who is allegedly linked to Russian intelligence? After the committee's announcement, President Trump celebrated on Twitter by saying, "No collusion between Trump and Russia." Is anybody surprised by this?
Another government shutdown may not be as likely as it has been in the recent weeks. Lawmakers that sit on the Senate and House Appropriations Committee met on Monday night to reach a partial agreement that will keep the government from closing this Saturday. The partial agreement came on border security and 6 other bills. Republicans and Democrats have been going head-to-head on border security in recent months, and it's picking up steam as it nears the weekend. The bill is expected to be released today. The Hill reports that the bill will include nearly $1.5 billion for physical barriers, but that same agreement prohibits the use of a concrete wall. Trump has repeatedly asked for $5 billion to fund this wall. One GOP lawmaker that has been a part of the negotiation process says that Trump will take actions with an executive order no matter what happens in the funding bill.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is under fire over tweets that were perceived by many as anti-Semitic. This is similar to a tweet she had in 2012 claiming that Israel has hypnotized the world. On Sunday, a journalist at The Intercept, Glenn Greenwald, tweeted a story covering the topic of congressmen criticizing Israel. Omar tweeted saying that it's all about Benjamins, baby, implying that Jews pay politicians to be pro-Israel. When questioned over who she thinks is paying these politicians to have these stances, Omar cited AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs Committee, a bipartisan organization based on strengthening the relationship between the United States and Israel. Omar's tweets received criticism from Chelsea Clinton, Meghan McCain, and a handful of journalists. However, Omar was backed by former KKK leader David Duke, who questioned the logistics of what constitutes anti-Semitism and simply asking who has money in politics. On Monday, Omar stated on Twitter, "Anti-Semitism is real," and she unequivocally apologizes for what she said, while at the same time reaffirms the problematic role of lobbyists in our politics.
The Democratic Party pool may have another candidate in the mix. Beto O'Rourke of Texas says that he will decide if he will run for president by the end of the month. O'Rourke lost to Ted Cruz in the fall Senate race, but he has gained notoriety in the months leading up to the election and in the months following. Since then, many have been pushing him to run. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, he said that he will need to have full support from his family before running. He did say that he was considering it. So far, the Democratic Party has 6 candidates that have announced they are running for president in the 2020 election.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, an organization known for fighting hate, is being sued for falsely labeling internet personalities as hate groups. Vice co-founder and political commentator Gavin McInnes is suing the organization for defamation. McInnes, an immigrant from Canada and married to a Native American woman, was labeled as a white supremacist by the SPLC. This label not only led to many death threats that he's received from himself and his family, but it's also caused people who believe these false claims to attempt to invade his home. In the lawsuit McInnes v. SPLC, his lawyer argues that the SPLC's hate designations are not based on empirical facts, but rather their interpretation of who is and who isn't a racist. McInnes says he supports fighting hatred and intolerance, but the SPLC has gone too far to falsely label him and others as hate symbols. This isn't the first time the SPLC has done something like this. In fact, the website has referred to centrist and liberal figures like Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson as extreme and combatant. They also falsely claimed that the most subscribed channel on YouTube, PewDiePie, has ties to white supremacy, despite his 85 million subscribers not seeing the connection. We'll have more on this topic on Friday's podcast.
One senator is standing her ground on her decision to vote to confirm Justice Brett Kavanaugh onto the Supreme Court. Republican Susan Collins, a long-term supporter of abortion rights, says that she does not believe that Kavanaugh will overturn Roe v. Wade following his dissent in a case from Louisiana. The law that was challenged would have required abortion providers to have admitting privileges at a nearby hospital. In his dissent, Kavanaugh said it was premature. He said that Louisiana would have 45 days to review the law and see how it would affect those clinics. No provider would be forced to suspend their services immediately after the law went into effect. If challengers still felt like that there was a burden in the result of the law, then the Supreme Court would allow their challenge at that time.
While it's okay to openly condemn Israel's relationship with the United States on Twitter, it is not okay to tweet jokes about Elizabeth Warren's Native American heritage. On Sunday, actor and comedian Rob Lowe tweeted Elizabeth Warren would bring a whole new meaning to Commander-in-Chief. Hollywood figures like Mark Hamill, Vincent D'Onofrio, Alyssa Milano, and others called for Lowe to immediately delete his tweet, despite all of these figures having a history of tweeting criticism of our current president and his supporters. Lowe caved to the criticism of outraged actors and deleted his tweet, saying it was never his intention to hurt anyone. Lowe followed up by reminding us that many politicians actually like each other behind the scenes, but have to stir the pot to keep things interesting. Only thing wrong with it is when we buy into it whole cloth, breeding intolerance, anger, and total inability to laugh at anything.
In recent years, celebrities have used their platforms to show their political views and opinions. The Grammys are no exception. Two singers in attendance showed up to the red carpet on Sunday night in two different outfits, but with the same message, MAGA. Joy Villa wore a white dress that had Build the Wall printed in black on the front, and it was matched with a red Make America Great Again purse. Ricky Rebel wore a red, white, and blue ensemble that included a jacket with Trump on the back and Keep America Great on the front, showing support for Trump's assumed second candidacy for president.
That's all we have for KPC News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Karsan Turner.
And I'm Hannah Thurman. We'll see you next week.